So about a year ago, while I was a student at the University of Cincinnati studying physics, one night while I was working on a project at the laboratory, I looked to my left and saw a huge pile of research data and thought to myself, what if? What if people found this data useful in ways that I can never imagine? What if somebody combined this data with data from NASA and used it to confirm that global warming was in fact a human-caused crisis? What if? It's 2016, somebody definitely asked this question. In fact, many have, and one of them is this guy. While working as a research scientist at CERN, the European Center for Nuclear Research, Berners-Lee asked a similar question. He asked, what if scientists could share their data across the globe instantaneously? It's the same question over and over again. What if all raw data was easily accessible? Immediately after that, he submitted a proposal for an interconnected web of information. Does that sound familiar? That's right. Sir Tim Berners-Lee invented the web because he wanted scientists to share data. But he made something much bigger than that. It's been 25 years since the web was invented, and we still haven't achieved what it was created for in the first place. Now, there have been many efforts here and there, such as thousands of these topic-specific repositories across the web that let you upload and archive your data. But see, that's exactly the problem. They treat the upload of the data as the end of the process when it should be the start. And that's key. It allows people to use your data, and more importantly, you get to see how your data has been used. By seeing how the data has evolved over time, you build a deeper understanding of the information. Additionally, when you're using these topic-specific repositories, you only get a part of the answer. You want to have a more diverse pool of data. It makes sense statistically. The more data you have, the clearer your curve. And that's why I created Datazar. Datazar is a data collaboration platform where anybody can find, work with, and share any kind of data. A whole community working together to change the way the data is organized. So how are we doing that? We approached it at the foundation of the problem. The current implementation of the research process is completely disorganized. Right now, you start by collecting data from machines, and sometimes even manually, and then you analyze that data in another machine, one that's completely disconnected from the first one, and then finally, you share it somewhere with a lot of the context lost in between. Also, don't forget, while you're doing all of this, you're emailing your team back and forth to keep them on the same page. At Datazar, we solved it by creating a very simple process. You start by uploading your data through an API or an interface, and then you make sense of the data with your team, either internally or publicly with the whole community, and then finally you share it. And then when you do that, you can collect feedback on the work that you've done. Now, this all sounds great theoretically, but does it actually work? One thing I've learned as a physics student is everything works well on paper, theoretically, until the real world hits you with additional variables. So let's walk through a project that's currently going on our platform. Somebody started by uploading a raw data set from NASA. It's a simple temperature record from 1880 to 2015. Since the project is open, other people joined it. And of those people who joined, some used it to show temperature differences in the different hemispheres, some matched it with greenhouse gas emission records, and others used it to predict the temperature for the next few years. Now, all of this was located in one place. So let's take a step back and think about why this is important for the whole community. If people were working on these projects without using Datazar, using the same NASA dataset, it would look more like this: a bunch of different projects with no idea of each other's existence. But since they are using Datazar, it looks more like this, and they're able to leverage each other's information and build a deeper understanding of the information. And this is just one instance, a single dataset from a single source. The value of the information grows infinitely the more sources you add. This is where it gets really exciting. You're able to see how different data from different topics can influence each other's outcomes. So why is this the perfect time for us? Publicly shared data, also known as open data, is expected to generate $4 trillion in economic value annually. By allowing our customers to tap into this rich yet underexplored resource, we expect to play in a $40 billion market. Only 1% of the whole opportunity we're helping them unlock. So who are we going after? Naturally, we started with individuals like myself, independent researchers. Right after that, we move into companies, institutions, and governments. We make money by providing private projects, which means private collaboration, and access to our API, which means access to all the data we have. Since we started our public beta a few months ago, we've been growing 50% every single week. Not every month, every week. What's next? In a couple months, we'll be releasing our SDKs, which will allow us to automatically integrate with external applications. And after that, we'll be releasing our mobile apps. And finally, we'll be allowing our customers to use machine learning algorithms to automatically draw insights from the data. You won't even need to have a question to get answers from these data sets. Another application of this is somebody using publicly available data here to train their AI without having to manually train it. Imagine what you could do with that. It's the future. To tackle projects this big, you have to be a little young and a little naive. That's why my whole team is full of people who either dropped out or have given out six-figure salaries just to pursue this vision, starting with myself. I came to Cincinnati about 3 years ago, originally from Eritrea. For those of you who don't know, that's in East Africa, that's not in Ohio. Next, we have Brian, who worked at Siemens. Me and Brian actually met while we were working at a student organization. One night, right after our first meeting, I emailed him and showed him what I was working on. Immediately, he was in, and then a few months later, I convinced him to drop out. Right after that, we have Sarah. Sarah was actually my student, and she's our perfectionist designer. And then Primit, who's originally from India, is our data scientist and has more degrees than all of us combined. And finally, we have Aiden, another badass dropout who just gets shit done. Let's not forget why we're doing all of this, why we're pushing out all these features. We want to accelerate science and discovery by building the largest library of data ever. So join us. Thank you.